Committee meeting. This committee meeting will be available for live viewing on the WHCI YouTube channel. This is a virtual meeting, and we will call the meeting to order. And I want to recognize everyone around the virtual table / screen. We have our town manager, Rick Ledwith, Mayor Sherry Cantor, Councilor Alberto Cortez, Councilor McGinnis, let's see, Chief Priest and his team. We also have Chief Riddick. Let's see, I want to say AC Riccabon. We also have Fire Marshal AC Robert Grimaldi. We also have Councilor Walters, Chief Riddick. Okay. I believe we also have Councilor Mary Fay on. And if anybody else is on and I haven't mentioned you, please shout out. And of course, Gerida Reinheimer, who will provide our technical assistance this morning. Okay. First item for business is approval of our minutes for January 3rd, 2024 and February 7th, 2024. If I could have a motion to approve the minutes, approve and accept the minutes as they are presented to us.
I make a motion.
And I'll second that. And we will approve those minutes. Rick and Gerida, please note that the minutes are approved.
Thank you.
And then we will move into communications.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Town Councilors. Just have general updates from our public safety leadership team this morning. But before turning it over to them, I just want to take a moment to commend the excellent work of our police department and detectives involved in the investigation of the rally that led to private property damage at 65 LaSalle back in January. As we know and have discussed in the past, we pride ourselves on being a very open and inclusive community where many times groups can gather and express their thoughts and opinions while being respectful of people and property. That did not happen in this situation, and I do appreciate the police department's response and their commitment to always keeping our town safe. So that's it for me under communications this morning, Madam Chair. I will turn it back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ledwith. We will then move to staff reports, and I believe the fire department update is up first, so I'll turn it over to you, Chief Priest, and your team.
Good morning, everyone. Happy March. I can't believe we're already here, but here we go. So as usual, I've submitted a written report. I'm accompanied by a lot of my staff here today. I'll introduce as necessary as we go around. My written report is uploaded, and I will just cover a few things this month. So as you know, I always like to start my reports out with some acknowledgement of folks that don't always get seen too much in the public eye. And we've coaxed Melinda to come into to headquarters to the meeting today because really, you know, she is one of our unsung heroes. And I really wanted to make sure that we appreciate everyone in the department. We talk a lot about our CERT team, our operations members, our fire marshals, but we're truly backstopped by an outstanding administrative team. Melinda does so much for the organization, whether it's payroll or helping with calendars or anything. Really want to make sure that she's recognized at the council level for what she does, along with Sue, who works in our fire marshal's office to process our permits and release reports and everything. So Melinda, I know you're never coming back into the meeting again, but thank you so much for being here. We wanted to recognize you. So thank you for imbibing me with that short little bit there, as well as Jeff. Sorry, I forgot. Jeff is our part-timer who is not with us today, but he does a lot in the background as well. So moving into some of our important calls this month, We started out with some norovirus going through some of our skilled nursing facilities, and unfortunately that jumped into some of our ranks. So we had some increased sick leave. We actually watched some of the norovirus being publicized in the media and spoke to our health district about it. So again, it's, you know, even though it's not a life-threatening risk, it's certainly a risk that our personnel and first responders face on a regular basis. So I, knock on wood, believe that we're through the majority of that right now, but something for you, the council to consider. As far as unusual incidents this month, we actually had 2 parked unoccupied fire marshal vehicles that were impacted by a driver who crashed into them, one of which the cost of repairs exceeds the cost of replacement, or vice versa. So basically one of the cars is totaled, and we're working with DPW and our fire mechanic to get that repaired. So kind of an unusual one, but appreciate some of the most recent efforts of the town manager and others to support our light vehicles. We're handling it and accommodating it. So probably the first time in a while that the town manager has heard me say thanks for vehicles, and we're good right at the moment. But I just wanted to say thank you for that. We're good, and look forward to some of the upcoming budget hearings where we'll be asking for some additional ones. Along the lines of vehicles and accidents, certainly along with you, watching the incidents of very serious motor vehicle accidents up on our highways and kind of the operator issues there. We were up on the highway the other night for a rollover accident. Again, you know, just watching our road safety and knowing that our fire department is prepared. I wanted to applaud our new desk commissioner for his work with the local police departments and the state police to try and curtail the driving behaviors and protect our residents, as well as the town for their actions towards the Vision Zero. So as the fire service, we're absolutely prepared on the medical and rescue fronts. We're very happy with how our Squad 1 concept is rolled out, partnered with our grant-funded training for technical rescue. We're still continuing to make improvements there. In fact, we're actually applying for an additional grant based on the success of that. Chief Bunsell is working on that with New Britain. There was an interesting incident in Louisville. I just had a resident email this morning about that as well, where there was a truck hanging off of a bridge, and fairly fantastic rescue. So while I never hope that happens, I certainly am confident in our folks to be able to figure that out. Some other notable projects and activity. I just wanted to commend our CSO, Andrew Eccles, as usual. He's out in our community working in partnership with our fire marshal's office in the schools. He's working through emergency procedures with some of our local non-public schools to make sure that they know what happens when 911 is called or CPR has to be initiated, and working through emergency procedures. It's very similar to what School Security Director Dempsey is doing in our public schools. So that's an effort that I really appreciate. It helps to prepare everyone for emergencies that may happen in a school setting. I'm pleased to report on Fire Marshal Grimaldi's efforts to improve our smoke detector replacement and installation program. That is rolling. It's coming back out. So it was a little bit dormant for a while through the pandemic, but we're happy that is coming back out. Smoke detectors certainly save lives, and I'm happy as well because we've provided 2 new line member inspectors have graduated school. That offers some additional support to Chief Grimaldi with our inspection rates. So Chief Riddick and I are known for our kind of back and forth tennis matches and lighthearted jokes. And I will tell you, with all seriousness, you know, I look to him and how he presents information. And as a team, we listen to how he talks about, say, perhaps motor vehicle stops or things that are improving the safety for our residents. And our team actually realized that we provide this committee with a big data dump of how many calls we go on, and we kind of drop them off into categories. But we wanted to talk just a little bit about specifics of some of our emergency medical services calls. You know, I'll talk about fires or rescues, but some of our EMS calls are interesting. And I wanted to highlight, you know, like the seriousness of the calls that we're actually doing on a regular basis. So we pulled some statistics. So last month we did 6 cardiac arrests. We did a myocardial infarction, which is like a precursor to a cardiac arrest where a person needs to be in a cath lab. We had 8 strokes and 4 trauma alerts where the seriousness of an injury warrants a level 1 trauma center. So those are fairly significant calls, just to give you some concept of that. I'm also proud we've reported it previously in a different format, but the national average is somewhere around 9.3 to 9.5% for people who walk out of a hospital following a cardiac arrest. Our cardiac arrest survival rate is around 13.7%. So that's a testament to the folks that had the foresight and the vision to implement a paramedic program that was, deployed very well across our community. So we have great response times and good success rates. So you can look forward to hearing more about those, especially when we have really good cases where somebody perhaps does walk out of a hospital. We have to be careful of patient confidentiality, but that'll be an area we'll be kind of upping our data. Coming up for the next month, we're looking at some facilities issues. We're working with Director Palmer and his team to try and reoccupy our training tower that was taken. We were not allowed to occupy it for a period of time due to some interior structural issues. But thanks to Chief Munsell and others, we're very happy that with a partnership with the Newington Fire Department, where we're going over there and using their training facility. This will allow not only our members to have access to the proper training facility, but also to help keep our ISO rating at the Class 2X that it exists today, which is a fire suppression standard for communities. Appreciate that partnership with Newington. I also appreciate Facilities is working to try and get us back into ours, at least for a period of time until we're able to build the training tower that the council has very kindly already allocated funding for, and we'll be seeking some additional monies at the upcoming budget hearing. I'm also appreciative to Director Palmer and Town Manager Ledwith for their efforts. We're working with them collaboratively. That they're in the process of a project manager getting hired and to do some station updates. Again, and a thanks to the council. We toured stations a while ago. That's been a concern of mine, and trying to ensure that we have great facilities for our men and women who are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That will continue. And as I close out my report, I'm very happy with Town Manager Ledwith's selection of a new HR director. We've already been speaking with her. Her team is great. We're working to finalize the posting for an Assistant Chief of Operations. So that should be out shortly. But again, in this time without an assistant, I'd like to thank my administrative team who have all kind of come together, especially Chief Munsell, who is reasonably new in our Training Support Services division. He's now become the sounding board, i.e. punching bag for all the things that are coming into headquarters. So thanks, Chief. I appreciate the help. And I look forward to speaking with the council next month about our budget needs. And you can hear me talk much further than I have today. Just joking. Anyways, that concludes my report. I'll be glad to take any requests or questions you have.
Thank you, Chief Priest. And also, I just want to recognize and thank you, Melinda, for all of the support that you provide to the team. And thank you for attending this morning's meeting. All right. Do committee members have any questions or comments for Chief Priest and his team? All right, let's see. I'm gonna arrow my screen. Councilor McGinnis, do you have any questions? Okay. And Mayor, any comments or questions?
No, thank you very much. Impressive numbers on the paramedic. That really is important for us to remember and understand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Priest, I just have a few questions and some comments. Let me see here. One, especially as new businesses come into town and I visit those businesses, one in particular, I wanted to know, and this is probably a question for you, AC Grimaldi, in terms of inspection. Do we either inspect the business before they actually open? And if they have questions, how is it made, I guess, known to that business owner or operator, how they can reach out to the fire department inspection just to make sure that they're following town requirements and guidelines? That's my first question.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good question. So when any new business is coming into town, they get directed by our economic Development Director, Kristen Gorski, to go through the process of the building department permits. They have to pull a permit to change the occupancy. At that time, we get any plans that they have, if they're going to change the space or reutilize the space in a different way. And then we're able to do a plan review and then, of course, follow-up inspections in conjunction with the building department. We're very approachable, and I think Ms. Gorski, I think she lets them know that they can call us anytime if they have questions about, fire or life safety or building construction or anything. We're always available, so that's how we approach that. And we try to get them through the inspection process as painlessly as possible, so everybody's up to code. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. And then I do have another question regarding the residential inspections. Are those residential homes, multifamily, and apartments, or all of the above?
So it's the residential inspections consist of apartment buildings, anything 3 families and more. We don't count. So in our smoke alarm installation program, we have a single family and 2 family home survey we do with the owners of the property, just so they're aware of fire safety dangers or life safety dangers in the home. But statutorily, we're not required to inspect those single family and 2 family, just 3 family and above. So the numbers that you see for residential inspections, they go towards the annual inspections. They're supposed to be inspected annually. So, but they also include re-inspections of those properties.
Okay. Okay, so that was 2 of my questions. And then oh, I know. This question is probably for emergency manager, Mr. McHugh, in terms of the CERT team. So it seems like the CERT team is really building up, and I'm really happy and pleased to see that. And it also looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we're like expanding it to the Hall High and Conard students to either get them interested or to get them to volunteer and maybe pique some interest in terms of going into this field. Can you just elaborate a little more for not only us, the committee, but also the listening audience? Because it looks like it's really grown in leaps and bounds, and I'm really pleased to see that.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we just recently sent out an email audit to all the members on our list to make sure they were still interested. We have about 170 residents respond that they still wanted to be on our emailing list and be active in case there was an emergency. We normally have 40 or so residents show up to our monthly meetings, so that's a good sign. We just recently met with the summer school teacher at Conard, so we'll be doing the Teen CERT program again. I think what you might be referring to also, though, is Andrew Eccles, our community outreach officer, firefighter officer here, has been working with Hall High and Conard to do a public safety day that's going to come up in May, which will be a day-long event both at Conard and Hall. Police will be there, fire department will be there, public safety or DPW, and also emergency management. So that's also to get the youth interested in careers in public safety and also give them a little bit on preparedness. So we're going in leaps and bounds. We just recently started our most current basic CERT training class. We did a recruitment in January and picked up 29 new residents that joined the team. So yeah, it's definitely a very active team.
Madam Chair, if I could follow that up with just one particular principle too, which is the size and composition and the training of the team. So when you're seeing the numbers of people who are trained, I wouldn't suggest that all of them are active, to just refine Bob's point, but we've adopted a philosophy that anytime you can take and train somebody in emergency preparedness, that is a good improvement in public safety to our community. It's a benefit for them to be prepared, even if they don't continue to stay with the team. So they get the training and they take that back into their homes, and whether or not they continue to participate, obviously we encourage them to, but it's really that we're getting the training out there and they have it for themselves personally. And then we have a core group that Bob works with who's very active.
Thank you, Chief Priest, and I absolutely agree. And that brings me to my next question around your report with the cardiac arrest and myocardial infarction. So if you remember, and if you don't, just maybe a ballpark in terms of when the call came in, the initial call came in, what was the response time of when our team actually arrived on scene? I think that's critical in terms of the number of lives and residents that we've saved.
So I would love to give you more very specific data on that. So I'll defer that one. What I can tell you is we are very close to the national standards with the arrival of our units. We're in the 4 to 5 minute range for that, but there are different priorities in which we respond to calls. So for something like a heart attack, reported a cardiac arrest, myocardial infarction, we're going to go on what's called a priority 1. So we look at data for just priority 1s, then we look at data for priority 2. So it would be best for me to kind of defer, get you that information next month to make sure that I'm very accurate with our response times. But I'm very pleased with the team. We're participating in a Tecton facilities study right now, commissioned under our facilities department, and we were just privy to some data the other day. We're looking, our station locations are very well placed. We have very consistent response times through the majority of town. And I do think that paired with our, community efforts to do CPR and maintain our heart safe community designation, along with the training that our paramedics are getting under, Lieutenant Lodato is with me, but, we're making some really forward movements in the quality of our simulation training as well. We're using both a combination of internal and external resources to make sure that our paramedics have simulation training. And actually one of our budget requests this year in the CIP has to do with bringing in a simulation mannequin here into the town that will help both all of our first responders to have very realistic type training. Again, just getting that teamwork together paired with great response times and excellent medicine.
Okay, thank you, Chief Priest. I certainly commend and echo the training, because in times when we do have these, you refer to them as a priority 1 emergencies, it's critical that everybody works together. And again, it just continues to show that teamwork really is critical and really does make the dream work and saves lives. So again, thank you to you and the leadership team, as well as your entire staff.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate those. One last follow-up. I don't want to miss that we do work in partnership with American Medical Response. They're our transport provider. We have a contract with them, but more importantly, we have a great relationship with them so that we're constantly talking about these issues. And as you know from, kind of the cardiac arrest chain of survival, this starts all the way down into the other group who sometimes doesn't get recognized. Chief Rick does an awesome job, but our dispatchers really play a critical role in activating those resources and knowing the right ones to send. So it's a big chain that works together to provide for cardiac arrest survivability. So thank you for letting me just throw that shout out to our dispatchers and our transport agency, ma'am.
Absolutely. And of course they are included, because it all starts when that telephone call comes in. So again, thank you to everyone who's always on their A game. All right. I will now toss it over to staff reports for the police department update. So I'll turn it over to Chief Riddick and his team.
Good morning. How's my audio?
It's good.
Thumbs up? Okay, awesome. I also want to echo the sentiments for the FD with their response times and their ability for the saves. Seconds matter, but equally important is skill and ability to perform under pressure. And our paramedics, our fire personnel, they're skilled. They respond and operate very well under pressure, which results in high quality delivery of public safety services. So we greatly appreciate that. Chief Priest, you sort of glossed over that mannequin. The report that I got regarding that mannequin is absolutely phenomenal. Would you care, whether you or one of your staff members, just to talk a little bit more about that simulator mannequin, if you don't mind?
Sure, I'll hit the high level, and then I might turn to Lieutenant Lodato, who is in that. But what we understand from medicine, thanks Chief for the setup on that too, and the commendation for our personnel. I know they appreciate that. the simulation mannequin is very expensive, but what it does at the very highest level is it provides a paramedic, police officer, or EMS personnel with a interactive mannequin that changes based upon the care that you're providing. So it can simulate injuries or illnesses, heart attacks, gunshot wounds. It actually bleeds so that, and then the operator is able to control it to be able to change how it responds based upon the quality or of the care that's being provided, the intervention being done. So to Chief Riddick's point, right, in the active shooter, or excuse me, in the shooting simulation and the use of force simulator that the police department has, we feel that there is a partnership that can be done where we can bring in this mannequin into that area so that we can start the continuity of care. So the police officers have the ability to learn force on force and making excellent decisions that we know that they already make, but we can pair that with some sort of an injury, either to an officer, to a civilian, to a suspect, and make sure that they're taking the appropriate actions in the interim until that scene is secured or safe enough so that a paramedic could come in and then continue that continuity of care. Because ultimately we're here to save lives. And we need to make sure that those skills are trained in a most realistic way possible. So I think I probably got it all, but Rock, did I miss anything on simulation other than healthcare uses this, and the research shows that this does improve the quality of the care that's being provided for simulation, much like use of force. So Chief, thanks for the setup.
No, and you're welcome. It's just the reports that I got from our personnel here. Our training division had an opportunity to see that thing, and I was just astounded that this type of technology was there, and the application for the delivery of better medical care is it's unbelievable. It really, really is. So well done securing that, and I think it's a really good job. Sarah, are you on? Since you put the pressure on about operation personnel, Melinda is awesome. But Sarah does attend every single meeting, and I got a text from her. It's like, really? You're not going to acknowledge me? So Sarah, you do a wonderful job. Normally we recognize you with an envelope filled with green stuff, but because we're doing FaceTime, we'll do that today. So thank you for everything that you do. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. You're welcome. All right, next, hiring and retention. We currently have 10 vacancies, and just to bring you back, last year around this time, we started the year with only 2. We've had some retirements and some separations. We also anticipate another 3 people retiring within the next maybe 4 months. So we are getting to an issue for us. Unfortunately, the quality, we went to a bad run of applicants. We never panic here, but some of the applicants we've been getting have not cut the mustard, not even getting past our first and sometimes second round of background. So we're pushing forward. And our next state of affairs, we're going to push a big media push, soliciting people to apply to our police department. We're progressing well with contract negotiations, and if everything works well with that, it'll be excellent to put out there as a recruitment tool. Some of the things we have on the table. I greatly appreciate the town manager's efforts and the mayor helping us to push forward with negotiations. It's a heavy lift. It really, really is. So I just want to say we're not there yet, but so far things look promising. So thank you both for that. Our pistol permits, February of 2023, we had 13. February of this year, we had 31. The breakdown was 23 men and 8 women. Motor vehicle accidents, February of 2023, we had 162 motor vehicle accidents and 611 motor vehicle stops. This year, we're down to 154 motor vehicle accidents and 970 motor vehicle stops. So excellent work by our police officers and our traffic division. We mentioned ERC, our radio room, if you will, emergency reporting center. So for February, they handled 1,741 911 calls and 4,901 routine calls for service. And year to date of this year, 96% of the 911 calls were handled in less than 10 seconds. So kudos to them and the work that they do. That is really a pressure-filled job. to be in that room and to handle those calls. Motor vehicle stops year to date. Last year we had 1,270 stops. This year we're up to 1,649. So again, that's year to date. Motor vehicle stops, excellent work. Our community support unit that we have out there enforcing and working with the community for quality of life issues. In February, they recovered two stolen motor vehicles, BMWs, and one of those BMWs was valued at over $90,000. So good work by them. On February 9th, we arrested an individual in the area of 70 Kane Street. The individual had 8 active arrest warrants and was in possession of drugs and a black BB gun. On February 27th, Community Support Unit executed a search warrant at the cigar and vape shop at 11 Cedric Road. They recovered over $8,000 in currency and seized, in addition to 179 THC gummies and vapes that were the equivalent of 17 pounds of marijuana. So a lot of stuff going on there. That's been a priority of our PD to make sure that these vape shops are adhering to the laws and doing everything they're supposed to do. So kudos to them. On February 28th, working in collaboration with the Greater Hartford Auto Theft Task Force, the individual was arrested for having, brace yourself for this, 27 outstanding arrest warrants and from various municipalities in the capital region. And one of those arrest warrants was for West Hartford engaging in police pursuit. So a job well done to get that individual off the streets. From our patrol division, on February 4th, our officers were to utilize the tire deflation devices, what we call stop sticks, to stop an operator of a stolen motor vehicle who was attempting to flee. And that individual was captured after a brief foot pursuit with no injuries. On February 13th, one of our officers conducted a motor vehicle stop, which led to an arrest of a convicted felon who was in possession of a firearm and narcotics. And then on February 20th, our officers located a stolen U-Haul truck, and 2 of the occupants inside were arrested, and one of them were in possession of an AR-15 style facsimile firearm. So a lot of good work out there. We're very busy. Despite some of these stats, West Hartford is safe. But as you've heard me say before, we do not live in a utopia, which is why we continue to be proactive and reactive while respecting the rights and liberties of everyone in town and come through the town. So that concludes my report. And I'm so very appreciative of the dedicated commitment of our officers, despite adversities, despite legislation, despite whatever. They continue to come to work each and every day and do what they need to do. So thank you, and ready for any questions that I know that the chair will have.
Before I ask my questions, does any of the committee members have any questions or comments? It looks like Councilor Cortez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I got a couple questions. One, this 2024, we had a couple of armed robberies in town. People go right on social media and spread a lot of misinformation. So you hear numbers of, like Big Y has been, robbed several times to one time. I was wondering if you could just give us clarification on armed robberies to businesses in town for January or March.
All right, actually, Rickabon, if you grab that stat sheet for me for year to date, I don't have that right in front of me, but somebody's going to get that. And Sarah, if you can grab that stat sheet. The interesting thing when you hear robbery, because there's statutory robbery, which is a lot less sensational than what people hear robbery. So when you hear robbery, you automatically think weapon and gun. With the statutory requirement for robbery, all you need is a force. So if I steal, and I'm not being facetious here, these are some real life examples. So if I steal a Twinkie out of a store and I push somebody on the way out, that is actually considered a robbery. So you know, if you have a situation like that comes across, and that's what it is, it's a robbery, versus you go in with a handgun and you order everybody to the ground, and, you know, take money or whatever you're going to take, which is also a robbery. So I hope that provides some context. I do have somebody grabbing our stats year to date for the robberies.
Okay. So while we wait for that, in the meantime, I do want to give a shout out to Sarah, because her name is across a lot of the stuff we see, and she, you know, we talk about unsung heroes, and she does qualify as an unsung hero because her work, like I said, it doesn't go unnoticed. So I wanted to say that before I forget. And then my question,
and Crickabot has it.
And then the other question, statewide issue with the motor vehicle, with the car thefts in town. I know it was kind of like an issue in West Hartford right around the pandemic. You know, the numbers are going up a little bit. How is that trend for 2024? Is it, you know, is it kind of similar numbers that we've seen in the past, or has it been going down or increasing?
No, it's still increasing. Not as bad as it was at one time. At one point, we're over 100%. I think we're about 50% now. But and again, it's not just us; it's the entire region.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Cortez. Councilor McGinnis.
Okay. Chief Riddick, I just had a question about, you said when you recovered the stolen U-Haul that there was a AR-15 style weapon. Was that a stolen weapon, or was that what is often referred to as a ghost gun, where people order parts online and put it together and it isn't licensed at all? It doesn't have a serial number on it.
Yeah, it was a facsimile. So it was
Okay.
not an actual gun. It was an AR style facsimile weapon,
Okay.
like a paintball type deal.
Oh, okay, okay,
So it was a so it wasn't an actual firearm. It was a facsimile.
okay, thank you.
Anything further? How about from other council members that are on the call? Any questions? Mayor?
I wanted to, I had a few questions about the event at the mall. Could you talk about what happened there and how the 5 juveniles were caught?
Sure. So that was a multi jurisdictional issue. The call actually occurred in Farmington. So Farmington had called for our assistance, that they got information that a stolen motor vehicle, actually the owner, believe it or not, the owner of the vehicle was there shopping and happened to see their car in the parking lot. Go figure. They contacted the security personnel. So they put the cameras on. It was on the Farmington side. They notified us for assistance. They had 4 or 5 individuals on camera who they suspect had left the vehicle, who they had seen. We worked with Farmington to try to sneak up on the young folks, which didn't work because they ran. But we were able to capture all 5 of them. There was a loaded firearm inside the vehicle, and another gun was located to try to secrete inside the mall. So it was a great effort of communication between West Hartford PD and Farmington PD. We actually train. This is why we do these events at the mall, and we utilize the mall security. Their camera system is phenomenal over there. That's why we drill. It was flawless. It was seamless, and no one got hurt. And we got, you know, guns off the street, and some individuals who didn't need to be out there off the street also.
That's pretty amazing through you, Madam Chair. And so was the license plate was it the same on the stolen vehicle? Do you know, or had it?
I believe it was. The person saw that, so I'm not 100%, but the person saw their car, and usually, many times we'll get the flock hits from our flock cameras. We do have a camera in that area that alerts us that we would contact the mall personnel as we respond, or Farmington, because they also have the flock cameras. And then Because their camera system is so phenomenal, they can zero in and scan people. That helps us work on things and affect arrests without people getting hurt.
And just following up, thank you so much. Great work on many fronts. And I just want to echo the town manager's starting comments on following up with the protest and that arrest. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Really good work by our personnel, especially our detectives, to get that fingerprint, put it through the system, do a lot of legwork out of town, by the way, to find this individual. And sometimes it seems hyperbolic when we talk about things, and you hear me discuss a situation. They're like, "Oh, here he goes again, exaggerating." They're just not doing anything. But sometimes silence is our best tool to utilize, and it may seem there's times that we run to dead ends, right? So I'm not here saying we're 100% effective, but sometimes silence is our best tool, and we don't put people on notice while we're working behind the scenes running out leads, and people don't know that we're actually really close to an effective arrest. Like this individual had no clue until we showed up at his residence outside of the city and made contact. So really good work. And I do have the statistics now. Thank you for my personnel for assisting me with that. Our robberies in 2023 year to date through February, we had 2. This year, we had 3. When it comes from motor vehicle thefts, from theft from vehicles, from 2023 was 30. This year, it's 64. And all other larcenies, 30 in 2023 and 2024, we're down 13. So this subtraction of 43%. So auto theft in 2023 year to date, we had 21, and this year we have 31. So I was off by a couple of percentage points. It's actually 47%, and I had us about 50%.
Thank you for that, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Excuse me. Chief Riddick, great report. PD is definitely busy for the month of February, and I'll just go ahead and echo the great work that you and the entire team has done in terms of the LaSalle Road, Webster Bank vandalism and all the problems that brought. And I know you and your team you always bring your A game to the investigation. And like you always report out and tell everybody in town, let your team do the work. We will definitely get the perpetrator, and you always deliver. So I just want to thank you, not only you, because I know you always say it's your rank and file and you work as the entire team. But I think it's important to just note that you are the leader and you set the tone. And also, Sarah, I want to thank you as well, because I know nothing gets done without that supportive input that you and your administrative team provide, chief and leadership as well. Actually, Chief, I don't have any questions, because the question that I was going to ask Tiffany and Alberto basically asked those questions. So if no one else has any questions or comments, you're off the hook this morning. But as usual, I just really applaud you, you and your team, and Chief Priest, you and your team, of the great work that you all do. We always talk about how important it is for training. You constantly train, and you collaborate with others in town, like the mall, neighboring PDs, your regional PDs in terms of the task force and others as well. And that's why we're often successful in the arrest and pursuing and eventually capturing perpetrators who come into town and disobey the law. So again, thank you. And let's see, before I do go to future agenda items, I do have a quick story that I want to share with the committee members before I let you all go and the entire team. I shared this with Chief Riddick. So I have 3 daughters, and my oldest daughter lives in Maryland in Howard County. And one morning, I should say, she was at the gym, and as she was finishing up and leaving, she noticed that she didn't have her AirPods. She either dropped them or misplaced them or what have you. And everyone knows that these AirPods cost about $100+ Trust me, I'm going to be very short. So she was really pissed. So what she did was she went to the Find My AirPods, and when she learned that the AirPods was in Jessup, she called the police station, and she lives in Howard County. So she told the police station what happened. She told them where Find My AirPods locator have the stolen AirPods. So what happened was police department did their thing. They went to the location, and not only did they find the AirPods, but then as they approached, they learned that the vehicle in the driveway did not have a license plate on it. And then they learned that the car was actually stolen from another town over. So not only did they find the AirPods sitting in the back seat of the stolen vehicle, but they also arrested the individual inside the home as he began to run away. So I'm saying all of this because it started from something small, as we've heard Chief Riddick say. If it's small, you don't know. So go ahead and call in and find out, because you never know what it'll lead to. In this case, it not only led to a stolen vehicle where the owner got the vehicle back, but also to an arrest. So I'll just close that out this morning with that, to remember to tell people when they're asking a question, call the PD, and they will be happy to oblige. And through you, Chief Riddick, I did tell her to send a thank you card to both police stations, and she did. So thank you for that.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing. I know we're long in the hour, but you know, Counselor Blanks did share that story with me, and I'm so pleased that she shared it today. You know, many times, you know, people will say, well, I didn't call the police because I didn't want to bother them, or this is so small. And, you know, well, let us be the judge. And, you know, does that, we prioritize, we prioritize our calls for service. If we're busy that day and it's quote unquote just the AirPods, so maybe it might take us a little longer to get to it, but you never know what it might lead to. You never do. Now, who knows that would think that the AirPods would lead to a stolen car, but stranger things have happened. And I believe, which Counselor Blanks had shared with me initially, her daughter was a little, I'm like, you're not going to do anything, you know, you're not going to call. And then look, you know, what happened. And I'm very pleased that she also followed up with a thank you note. So we appreciate that. You never know. You really don't. So thank you. You see something, say something.
Absolutely. This was a great lesson learned. All right, so I will turn to any future agenda items that anybody is interested. I know this month is March, and this is our March Madness. And I know we have our budget workshop next month, but if you think of anything, please let me know, or please let Mr. Town Manager know as well. All right, and with that, we will adjourn, and the time is 8:50. Please watch your back and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks, everyone.